À cette occasion, mais dès aujourd'hui, nous avons dévoilé les visuels qu'on pourra trouver rapidement sur les réseaux.
On les voit d'ailleurs sur les écrans en ce moment.
Et voilà, les nouveaux visuels de cette compétition. Et puis on trouvera aussi bien évidemment la billetterie. Et j'insiste beaucoup là-dessus, puisque pour les clubs, les tarifs préférentiels seront ouverts dès aujourd'hui.
Oui, effectivement, vous pouvez en profiter à mi-licenciés avec des tarifs exceptionnels, puis ça va forcément évoluer avec le temps, donc dépêchez-vous de prendre vos places. Un événement où on verra d'ailleurs des seniors, mais aussi des juniors, parce qu'il y a la nouvelle garde qui arrive.
Voilà, très important que ces championnats d'Europe soient à la fois seniors, puisque ces gens-là prépareront les compétitions de Tokyo, des JO de Tokyo, mais aussi les juniors qui prépareront qui prépareront les JO de 2024, de Paris 2024, et on espère beaucoup sur ces équipes-là.
Voilà, et puis avant de se quitter, de reprendre la compétition.
I mean, words there in the interview with James Blateau. And a pause to proceedings in the action and chance to take a breath, really, because that was breathless, the pace and the high-octane tumbling passes we saw. Very, very thrilling beginning to proceedings here in Paris, and we have 9 more apparatus finals coming up today. And next will be the women's vault competition, and we'll get to see the likes of Oksana Chusovitina in action. She was the top qualifier, the Uzbekistan athlete, the legendary athlete, really, not too strong a word to use, I don't think. It's a fantastically well located arena here, 17,000 people or so. It's a pyramid in shape, and to the acoustics it certainly creates quite a dramatic atmosphere. Hosted plenty of sport here as well. Back in 2009, host of the Paris Masters in tennis. It also hosted the European Gymnastics Championships in 2000, 19 years ago. It's going on to host basketball events coming up next year, and it is going to be hosting events at Paris 2024 in the Olympic Games. They will have to be a little bit more patient before they get to see a compatriot competing, because there will be no French competitors in this next apparatus final. There are plenty of the likes of Cyril Thomasson and Melanie dos Santos as well. She will be competing a little later on in this afternoon, and I expect the atmosphere at that point, and the ceiling may be lifting off. So here we go in the women's vault competition. And the 8 finalists coming out into the arena. Chusovitina qualified in the top position, and Salapita from Hungary was behind her. Gabriela Janik from Poland qualified in 3rd, and Aneta Holosova, who will be going first in this final from the Czech Republic. She qualified in 4th position. We now go to alternating between 2 events also coming up for the men's competition, the Pommel horse final. You see the likes of Li Chi-kai, top qualifier on the Pommel, and Thierry Pellerin from Canada, as well as Joshua Nathan, who is really putting together some strong form on the Pommel horse in recent weeks. Winner last week in Szombathely. Martin Dolgopiat, he's straight back into the action, the 8th qualifier. And our cameras will then just turn back between both of the gymnasts being announced. Now we have our first French representative. Such long pause for all the competitors, but especially the likes of Oksana. Masova from Uzbekistan, the second Uzbekistan athlete competing, and then Francesca Santi from Chile. So in starting order, here is the list of competitors for the women's vault. Aneta Holosova going first, Gabriela Janik, Julie Eriksson, and then Oksana Chusovitina, the top qualified, going fourth. Medjas is after her. Artem Dolgopiat will be going first, no rest for him at all. And it will be Li Chi-kai from Chinese Taipei. The top qualifier, Cyril Thomasson, the home athlete, and Thierry Pellerin after that from Canada. Pellerin will be followed by another Uzbekistan gymnast, so 3 Uzbekistan athletes across the 2 rotations. Antonis Tantalidis from Greece also involved. Kirill Prokopev, he's back into action, we just saw him on our screen earlier, and Joshua Nathan of Great Britain. Interesting point to note about the Pommel competition is that Miss McClenaghan from Ireland, a big favourite really to take the title here today and maybe do the same at the World Championships in Stuttgart. He hasn't qualified, finishing in 9th. We'll start with the women's vault competition. Aneta Holosova from the Czech Republic, just 18 years old. She took bronze on the floor in Paris here last year. So 6th on the balance beam and also on vault with her first. She was 4th in qualification and gets her first vault cleanly done. Very good line. Bounce on landing. No drastic knee bend whatsoever. Straightness of the legs and the pointiness of the toes. One of the important criteria which the judges are looking at in terms of the in-flight form of the gymnast. She had a funny European Championships, Holosova. She didn't finish higher than 22nd on any apparatus. But then at the European Games in Minsk, she picked up a silver on the floor. She was behind Bachinska, no less. Really has quality, so 13.46 for her first vault. She's improved on qualification. She has a less difficult second vault. Can she nail the execution? Very nice in the air again. Just from that angle, we got to see the line from takeoff, from her push, just taking her perhaps not exactly in line with the runway. Now Artem Dolgopiat, the 8th qualifier on the men's Pommel. just building nicely. Until that point. So Holosova overall score 13.125. Well, Dolgopiat is going to continue with his routine, but we're just going to see that moment whilst travelling. And that will conclude matters. And really thought Dolgopiat, after coming off, won't be able to be pushing for a medal on this occasion. But all good practice for Dolgopiat, because at the World Championships, Olympic qualification up for grabs, of course. Now Gabriela Janik from Poland, next on the women's vault. Now she recovered to get herself down safely, because in flight it felt like she just got things a little wrong there. And legs and toes well apart from each other. Yeah, she was just side on in the flights, the whole rhythm through the air disrupted. So Dolgopiat 11.7. Well down on his qualification score. Janik picked up a 7th position in Doha in the World Cup event there earlier this year. She was 2nd last year in Guimarães in Portugal. That event is returning next week. She's an accomplished uneven bars gymnast too. Needs to get this 2nd vault right. She had a 13.6 for it in confirmation rather of her first. It's a lower difficulty vault, just 4.8. And that time, much cleaner and a good landing too from Gabriela Janik. So difficult to come back and be competitive on the scoreboard after a first vault and a low score. Good speed on the runway. So now the top qualifier, Li Chi-kai, qualified with a 15.35, and that is a 1/3 of a mark higher than anybody else. So Lee begins confidently into the flares straight away. With travel. Won on the Pommel in Melbourne and Doha this year. Looking for a 3rd gold medal. Really good work. Just losing it there. Well, his ribbon dropped. The clearance above the pommels, and those are the handles we refer to. Really suddenly just fell away from him. That was the beginning of it, and then in the 2nd time, just clipped it. So Janik is coming in at 12.325. She's down on her qualification score. She qualified in 3rd. Meanwhile, Lee again is going to come off. Well, this really is a surprise. And and understandably upset. Lee Chi-kai shakes his head. And coming away from the apparatus, and there's a point deduction, a full mark deduction, so almost certain not going to be taking anything home, despite the excellence in which he delivered those parts. And two coming away from the pommel horse. Very difficult to come back from. And Julie Eriksson is next up on the runway. The 8th qualifier, 18-year-old. Put in a strong showing last year in Paris, where she almost made the finals in vault. Here she is in a final. Confident beginning as well. Good line through her body in flight. Just like slightly coming away and landing very central to that main runway strip. Just the one small deduction for taking a step to her left. .35. She improves marginally on her qualification score for that first vault. Now, second vault has just under a mark's less difficulty to it in qualification. So he's got to really nail this in terms of execution. And again, clean in flights. So 12.35 for Chi-kai Lee. And it is enough to go into first temporarily ahead of Artem Dolgopet, who also came off the pommel. So a massive opportunity here for Cyril Thomasson in front of an expectant gallery. Seventh in qualification. So experienced. He's got an opportunity in this final. He's got to try and take it. Taking a steady clearance. Very difficult work. This is the moment. Legs coming away, but if that's the only blemish. Oh, he just can't quite get up there for the handstand. Well, it looked like he was going to hold it together. And he did, just about. But not hitting that handstand at the end before dismounting. And I think it cost him. Scissors to begin with. And after that, the speed built up. And Cyril Thomasson raises his arm and accepts the adoring praise, whatever, really. So this was the second time of asking. And back on. So Julie Eriksson, 12.85 for the Norwegian. Second place for Eriksson. Now Oksana Chusovitina from Uzbekistan, the top qualifier at 44 years old. Big bounce forward, but in terms of getting through safely, let's have a look here. not as good as she is capable of in flight, certainly, and on the bounce. And a lot of things do get said about Oksana Chusovitina and what an inspiration she is to be competing at her age. But let's just look at her form this year, because it's been superb. In 2019, she's picked up a silver at the Melbourne World Cup, silver in Baku, a silver in Zhaoqing in China, 3 medals across the World Challenge Cup Series. Here is Thomas Sohn's result. He goes into first. We'll have to see for how long. Chusovitina's second. Little down on her qualification score. Can she nail her second? This is a 5.2 in difficulty. Good speed on the runway. Much better in flight, much better in landing. Oksana Chusovitina has been to 7 consecutive Olympic Games. That is excellent form. Now Thierry Pellerin from Canada. 22 years old. Pellerin, the second in qualification, and with Lee Chi Kai having come off twice, Cyril Thomas Sohn having not nailed his dismount and having to redo it, and with Dolgopiat, everyone has come off so far in this final. It is open for Thierry Pellerin. The double leg circles. Good movement and the Russians keeping his feet together crucially. Big, quick travelling across the full length of the apparatus. Now the speed starts to build. This is very nice work from Pellerin. Difficult work now as well, keeping the clearance and just ensuring that he stays on all the way through. The first to go cleanly through in this final, Thierry Pellerin. Someone who came second here last year in Paris. A routine which built nicely, actually. Now, Paula Mejias from Puerto Rico, 6th in qualification. .5 difficulty for that, and certainly room for improvement on her execution from qualification. I wonder if that vault there will be enough to improve. National champion in Puerto Rico in 2019. And she bases herself though in Florida, and Thierry Pellerin goes into first. The benefit of staying on all the way through, 14.45. Half a mark lower than his qualification score, but in a final when everyone else has decided to come away from the pommel, that could well be a winning score. We do have Joshua Nathan still to come though in the pommel horse, and I'm sure he will have something to say about that. Paula Mejias, second vault awaiting, much lower in, excuse me, correction. She has a higher difficulty for her second vault. Picked up a silver medal at the Melbourne World Cup earlier this year. She also has a gold medal on the World Challenge Cup circuit from back in 2016 in Ljubljana. Worth bearing in mind how all these gymnasts are using these competitions, as we are just 3 weeks away from the start of the World Championships in Stuttgart. They are tune-up opportunities as well. It's such a prestigious event though as well on the World Challenge Cup circuit. Chusovitana, someone who puts her longevity in part down to wanting to prove her mother wrong as a young girl. Her mother didn't want her to initially compete in gymnastics. She wanted to show her, and she is still going. It is a remarkable career, and it keeps on just getting better every time she performs. 14.3, Oksana Chusovitana into the lead. 9.15 with that second execution for her vault. Can Mejias improve on her qualification score? Improving on her qualification score won't necessarily be enough. She was at 12.925 and Chusovitana way ahead at 14.3. Potentially a chance though for Mejias to sneak into a medal position. So the likes of Sarah Peter, the second in qualification to come, Indira Ulamsova and Francesca Santi. Here goes Mejias. Cleanly comes through. Low difficulty in the vault. Just a handspring on. But good line in landing. Now Abdullah Azimov, fourth in qualification with a 14.4. 23-year-old from Tashkent. Can he be inspired by Chusovitana? Can he go into the lead? Good travel with the double hand circles, double leg circles. And the Russians up for a handstand to the dismounts. And calmly managed. Competed in the Zhaoqing World Challenge Cup earlier this year, came sixth. But he didn't reach the final in the other two World Cup events. Mejias, well, she's into fourth. Disappointing and already out of contention for a medal for the Puerto Rican. The final moments of Asimov's routine. Here we go. So Sarah Peter, it was, who just missed the beginning part of her routine, of her vault. Good line in the body, and twisting elements. And slightly just coming away as she went down before the landing. The national champion on vaults, Sarah Peter. You see Asimov's score, he goes into second, 14.25. Just behind now Thierry Pellerin. So Peter's first vault was a little down on her qualification score. She picks up a bronze medal at the European Games in Minsk earlier this year, behind none other than Angelina Melnikova and Taya Balak. Good speed on the runway. And a nice landing too. bounce away to ensure that the backwards momentum didn't take her too far. Antonios Tantalidis from Greece. He was third in qualification. Had to recover those handstands. Did that. It's just coming away slightly. The Russian vendor swing. Jan Shivados. Forwards and backwards across the pommel horse. And just banks what he can. Everyone has got to be so careful. I think they are playing a little careful. Sarah Peter has gone into second from Hungary. She was second in qualification as well. And she nestles in behind Oksana Chusovitina. Now Indira Ulomtsova. Just didn't quite get enough height there. She's 15 years old, Ulomtsova. She is handling the occasion with great enjoyment as well. You saw her perhaps right at the beginning when she was coming on, just smiling her way into the arena. She competed at the Youth Olympic Games in 2018. She came 10th in the vault competition then. Made the final here, coming in 7th. Can't really have a better role model in camp than Oksana Chusovitina to learn from. So 12.8. She's 0.3 of a mark down on her qualification score from her first vault. Second vault carries a little less difficulty. She did incur a 0.1 penalty in qualification, so she can eliminate that. She can recover the difference. Coming round nicely in a cleaner second vault from Indira Ulomtsova. Tantalidis is into 4.13.25. Well done on his qualification score. So, as we see Ulomtsova's, we now have Thierry Pellerin still in first. This is Kirill Prokopev now taking to the pommel horse. It is Pellerin's 14.45, which is still the leading score. Now into the flares again. We saw these on the floor and start to wind them up. Good clearance from the Russian. Just a pirouette up after the handstand. Pumps the fists. Kirill Prokopev goes through. He was out on the floor and earlier on, now onto the pommel horse, and Ulomtsova is going to be ranked 7th down. But what a moment for the 15-year-old to compete in a competition such as this. Francesca Santi will go next for Chile. Santi, the last to go in this women's vault final. She was the 5th in qualification. She has a bronze medal from Copa earlier this year. And maybe able to move up on her 5th position. Bit of a knee bend in the landing, but the form was nice. can see how the legs here don't cross over, despite the twisting elements. Was that more than a metre step away to the left, so 0.3 deduction on landing. Kirill Prokopev has gone into first, 14.5. So Prokopev leads ahead of Pellerin. And then third behind him is Abdullah Azimov. Still Joshua Nathan to come though from Great Britain as Santi lines up her second vault. 4.8 in difficulty, this second vault. So a little less than her first, needs to execute as well as possible. And again, just the bounce backwards to control the backwards momentum. Good form from Francesca Santi. It is still Chusovitana who leads, 14.3 was her score. Now, Joshua Nathan, in his second year as a senior, competing in his third World Challenge Cup competition, having won gold last weekend in Sombate. His first was here 12 months ago in Paris. Can he go and make back-to-back World Challenge Cup gold medals?
Come on. Come on. Green. Come on.
Just coming away with the legs, but he recovers.
Come on.
Russian vendor swinger now.
Push.
Up for the dismounts. Joshua Nathan handling what came at him. He had the legs separating for a moment. Kirill Prokopev's 14.5 is the score to beat. Looks to be such a confident worker on the pommel horse. This was the flares element again, featuring highly in Prokopev's work. Also in Nathan's. Good line in the body. Will it be enough? Francesca Santi will take a bronze medal. She goes into third position, 13.75. So it means Oksana Chusovitana will take another medal in another World Challenge Cup, and Nathan is going to take another gold medal. Back-to-back gold medals for Joshua Nathan of Great Britain. 14.6, a full tenth of a mark ahead of Kirill Prokopev, and he is ecstatic. Well, wonderful scenes here in Paris, and popular winner of the women's vault, Oksana Chusovitana, the 44-year-old from Uzbekistan, preparing and in very good shape going into the World Championships. Another gold medal for her back pocket. Sarah Peter with the silver, and then Francesca Santi from Chile with the bronze medal. Joshua Nathan, 14.6, ahead of Kirill Prokopev from Russian Federation with the silver, and then Thierry Pellerin following up with a good score on qualification with a bronze medal. And just testament to what can happen in a pommel horse final when the favourites start falling off. Anything goes after halfway, and no one's really posted a score. It was there for the likes of Pellerin, the likes of Nathan and Prokopev, and it was the younger, less experienced members in the final who managed to have the calmest heads. Well, we're coming up, I to 3 p.m. in local time in Paris, and this place, the Accor Hotels Arena, is absolutely bouncing. We've seen some thrilling gymnastic finals already, and we're going to see 7 more